Traditional loops are only 5 to 10 degree field of view. So basically look through a straw. We're not in the want industry. We're in the need industry. You don't drive your car with one eye. You don't eat your food with one eye.
This is the Future of the Future show. I am your host, Mateo Berbejillo. Today's guest is someone building what feels like science fiction, except it's already happening in operating rooms today. Mark Greget is the founder and CEO of NuEyes, a company pushing the boundaries of augmented reality and smart glasses technology, from helping people with low vision regain independence to developing AR surgical systems like the NuLoupes that are changing how doctors operate. In this episode, we will talk about the future of AR glasses, why traditional surgical tools haven't evolved fast enough, what it takes to build wearable technology that works in real-world clinical environments, and where smart glasses could take humanity over the next 10 to 20 years. If you ever wondered what happens when AI, augmented reality, and human vision start to merge together, this conversation is for you. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Mateo. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you taking the time to learn more about what we're doing, and I appreciate the intro. I sound way cooler than we really are.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Mark, I recently saw a doctor perform surgery using your smart glasses system, which is pretty mind-blowing, right? Can you walk us through that moment and what it actually looks like for a surgeon to operate with AR glasses like NuLoupes in the operating room?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, right? I mean, we've been working on and off on this project or smart glasses for a good part of 7 to 8 years, right?
Right.
So sitting in the OR, working with the clinicians in their settings, it's just a surreal moment. Like it's, when Dr. Moridi says, "Hey, listen, I did the carpal tunnel release, from beginning to end," you're like, "Wait, what?" You
Right.
know, we're
Right.
we're in that kind of pre-production stage, and we're moving forward. But again, I mean, we've had 5 or 6 procedures from dental reconstruction. I was up in Palo Alto doing an aortic valve replacement case where we're testing it out. I mean, these complex surgeries, and you're sitting there going, man, like we worked on this forever, and all of a sudden now the surgeons are using it and seeing value, right? So, the ergonomics of it, the tilting camera system is a no-brainer, right? You're saving your neck, you're not hurting your back and your neck in a procedure. But I think one of those aha moments where you develop in a vacuum with your KOLs, our CMO, Dr. Fanous is phenomenal, but you have all these aha moments where someone says, wow, I'm magnifying my natural vision. I'm
Right.
not getting eye fatigue from long periods of time in surgery. Like all these things you didn't think of. I'd love to say we thought of everything, but you didn't think of. Now all of a sudden it's changing the game of surgical visualization in a huge, huge way, where we go from the antiquated loupes, the antiquated microscopes, all these systems that are sitting around the OR, right? Dr. Guadiani's got, 8 people in the OR, and he's got 10 different monitors and all these different things. Like, how do we bring that into his workflow just in an
Right.
efficient way? And I think, and how do you do that in a low latency, low thermal environment, something that's lightweight on his head? It's taken a long time to get here, and we're almost there, thank goodness.
A very proud moment. For people hearing about this for the first time, what exactly is NuEyes and how will you explain the technology in simple terms?
Yeah, so we're creating the next generation of smart glasses. Really, you have stereoscopic vision, but I think the key component is our stereoscopic camera system, right? It's created to mimic the human eye with depth cues in real time and really change the game in terms of going from 2D to 3D. Whether you're somebody, as we work with the DoD, on a U.S. Navy ship, or somebody in the OR, you have these depth cues. I always use this example, right? You have this pen sitting here,
Yeah.
and where is that in real time?
Right.
With the camera system, you know exactly where it is. So from low vision to enterprise to the DoD to surgeons in the OR, the camera system sitting on a small pair of smart glasses with long battery life, lightweight product with ergonomics has really been kind of the passion that we've been working on for a very long time.
I love it. So let's talk a little bit about traditional surgical loops hadn't changed much in decades, right? But what were some of the problems? You mentioned one right now, but what were some of the problems surgeons and clinicians were dealing with that made you realize this industry needed to be reinvented?
Yeah, no, absolutely, right. So we working in the accessibility space, working with people that have low vision, empowering their vision, getting a lot of referrals from doctors. But as you can imagine, doctors said, "Well, what about me?"
Yeah,
I go,
yeah,
"Well, what about you? I love the referrals. Thank you so much." And they said, "Listen, take these traditional loops that I'm wearing, and it's mind blowing. Like you think you're using your phone and you have this wide field of view, things like that. Traditional loops are only 5 to 10 degree field of view. So basically look through a straw, and now
right.
I'm working on Mateo's heart. Like, really? No, don't do that. So really for us, the eye fatigue from the small field of view to the ergonomics, those were the big things. And I always joke, my dad used loupes, my dad used microscope, and now he's 6'4" going on 5'10", right? You're hunching over things like that.
Right.
From field of view to ergonomics to really the natural vision, eye fatigue, whether it's a loop or whether it's a microscope, I think our system is really going to change a lot of lives.
What's the biggest differentiator? What makes your approach different from other AR headsets, and what technical breakthroughs made this possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of, and we love Qualcomm. They're great guys there. We've known them for a long time. But I think really for us, you have two trains of thoughts. You have the SoCs and you have the FPGAs. I think for us, what we had to do is it took us a long time, and we have a phenomenal tech staff and tech lead, and obviously Mark Kelly is phenomenal, as you know. So for us, coming up with a proprietary FPGA board with some new sensors, some new technology, some new CPUs to render stereopsis in 616 microseconds of latency. You plug a battery in and the thermal environment is almost non-existent. And then it's a 27-hour battery life. So we're really kind of improving. We're not going way, way beyond, but we're doing these incremental improvements, with our proprietary technology to really move the AR smart glasses forward. And again, think of our glasses not as a want. We're not in the want industry. We're in the need industry. We're enhancing people's vision in real world scenarios, either from your grandmother with low vision to the U.S. Navy guys on the aircraft carriers to the surgeons, obviously in the OR.
The million-dollar question, I know this one is not easy and it requires a lot of work with a lot of people, right? But where is the company today in terms of real-world adoption?
Yeah, so for low vision, that's been our bread and butter for a long time. So we've been in business for 10 years. We've been making a living off the low vision and accessibility, changing people's lives, which is obviously the most important thing. And then secondly, the DoD. So we've been working with the U.S. Navy. We've deployed to 4+ strike groups. It's been phenomenal working with my alma mater, if you will, as a young kid in the Navy. And then for surgery, I mean I think the surgical aspect, the crown jewel of what we're doing with NuLoupes. We've got 35+ hospital systems now looking to adopt it. I've done 6 months of traveling with surgeons, 80+ demos. I think that's where things get really interesting really fast here in Q3, Q4.
So looking ahead, what's the roadmap? What's coming next for the next few years?
Go faster. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I think for us, when you look at what we're doing, moving into that surgical and dental space, for us with the hardware is almost done. The product, if you will, the basis of what we want to do is almost done. Now it's really about the digital ecosystem, right? So I think for us, we're this cross between a loop, a microscope, and a digital ecosystem. The middle part that you've been helping out with, the digital ecosystem, is the most important thing. How do we take the surgeons or the dentist workflows and make it simple and easy for them? How can we include dictation, remote health, recording, taking pictures all into one product? We've built the foundation for that. So what we're really concentrating on and what we need to do is really push on the software portion, the SaaS, the app store, if you will, which is really important to us now that the foundation of the house has been built.
Um, you founded NuEyes, if I got it right, on 2016.
Yes.
to
Well, I mean,
originally
technically, right?
technically.
There's many years prior to that of failure going, one, you ask your wife, can we spend our life savings to do this? She goes, okay. And then two, you go, okay, now let's how do we hire a software team? How do we figure out, what works? But yeah, it was founded in 2016, but quite a few years before that was falling on my face for sure.
So let's go there. Let's go to your story, experiences in your life that led you down this path, and what skills or milestones do you think shaped you into the entrepreneur that you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, originally a long, long time ago after college, I was in finance, and after a few years, it just sucked. Like it just was
Right.
like that drain and drain and drain. And on Sundays, I'd sit there, and my wife's just like, "You're sitting on the couch and you're miserable. Like, what are you doing?" She's like, "Do anything else. Like, just go
Right.
do anything else." So I was, real estate finance. Sorry, not yeah. So real estate finance. And a buddy of mine says, "Hey, listen, we're working with people that have low vision." I'm like, oh, just put glasses on him. He's like, no, 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 this is way different. And I think for the first time, going out, working with somebody in their home and seeing that these machines or this technology changed their lives forever, within half an hour was mind blowing to me. And and you can get paid to do this.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, really working in that field and discovering that you can change people's lives in a major way and also support your family as well was something that was the foundation for NuEyes, right? My vision was a little different, pun intended, whereas working with surgeons and getting referrals. So I'd be going out to these people's houses, like, you hear 1,000 times, you hear 2,000 times, you hear 5,000 times. I wish someone would come up with a pair of glasses that does the same thing that these big electronic machines do. And you go, okay, there's something to this. And really working. I think the first prototype obviously was actually was with Epson. Mike and Eric over there were super supportive. I was really nervous for the first meeting, and they go, "Okay, cool. Like, we get it." So working on the first prototype with Epson, and obviously at the end starting NuEyes as a software company, working with ODG was really the precipice for all of this 10 years of labor to get to something that really is going to be what we believe is going to be a tectonic shift in the medical field.
What do you like the most about being an entrepreneur and leading this effort? And what's the hardest part about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, anybody that says that they're an entrepreneur and every day is a good day is not being truthful. I'll say that. The 3 a.m. panic attacks, the obsessive, failing and then getting back up and making progress. Being an entrepreneur and changing the world for the better with technology is an unbelievably good feeling. And when you see that represented in somebody's grandmother where they're thanking you and sending you a video of them watching the grandkids play soccer, right?
Right.
Or you get a call from the DoD and they say, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing technology. We love it. We want to really move forward." Or just seeing the surgeon's face in the OR and having somebody, having a doctor who's a prolific surgeon, who's a huge KOL, from Dr. Raj at Advent Health to Dr. Guadiani. These guys are huge influencers in their field and go, you're changing this forever, right? You've done something that we've been talking about forever. No one's been able to do it, right? And in full disclosure, we're still not there yet, but we're getting really close to the final product. I think those are the good times, and those are the validation times. But there's also, like I said, there's a ton of hard times in between. You have those VC calls where they don't go so well. You have those FPGAs that fail or the cameras that fail. You go, oh man, all right, you just got to get it back up and do it. I think the main story for an entrepreneur, your main superpower is never giving up, right?
Yeah.
There's no secondary thing. We as I joke around, we've burned the ships. This is the only path forward.
Yeah. No plan B. Um,
Yeah.
Mark, if we zoom out 10 or 20 years, how do you see augmented reality evolving? And what role do you think loops will play in everyday life, not just in medicine, but also across work, communication, and how humans interact with information?
Yeah, I mean, and even before the podcast, right? We were talking about AI and efficiencies and things like that. I think that AI is obviously playing a huge role. And now we're starting to hear, and now we're having kind of the first conversations of AGI, right? That
Right.
physical AI
Yep.
component. Is that in a phone? Is that in a pair of smart glasses? Is that a TV? What is a, how is the physical representation of AI going to be? A lot of smart people are working on a lot of smart algorithms. Having a smart product like a lightweight pair of smart glasses that's low latency, low thermal, something that really is mimicking the human eye, really transforms that AI into AGI and becomes a component not only for surgery, right? Of course, as our use case, becomes an interesting use case for a lot of other things that people want to do, right? You don't drive your car with one eye. You don't eat your food
Yep.
with one eye. Having something that's a stereoscopic vision to deploy AI in the physical world, I think is an interesting use case and is something that I believe is the wave of the future.
We do live in interesting times. Mark, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for taking the time. I hope that we stay in touch and do this again in the future. And all the best in everything that's yet to come.
Absolutely. Next time we do this in person with beers.
For sure.
Absolutely. All right, Mateo, thank you so much for your time.